Judge Rosemarie Aquilina sentenced Larry Nassar to 40 to 175 years in prison after pleading guilty to 10 charges of sexual assault. USA Today Sports former USA gymnastics team Dr. Larry Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison on Wednesday in Ingham County Circuit Court in Michigan. Photo: Matthew Dae Smith, USA Today Network. In the ongoing horror show of the sexual assault of more than 150 young American gymnasts, one good decision has just been made. Former USA Gymnastics and Michigan State Dr. Larry Nassar will spend the rest of his life in prison. Now it's time for the sports world at large to start doing what it should have done a long time ago and jettison all the so-called sports leaders who knew about Nassar's sexual assault of young athletes and did nothing or didn't care enough to find out. Michigan State President Lou Anna Simon should be the first to go.She said she was informed about a 2014 Title IX complaint and a police report against an unnamed doctor at the school, but never received a copy of the report. Apparently, she wasn't curious enough to find out what it was about.More. Larry Nassar sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison in sexual assault cases. More. USOC CEO Scott Blackmun promises independent investigation into sexual abuse that's reprehensible at any time, but especially in 2014, less than 3 years after Jerry Sandusky's atrocities were revealed on the Penn State campus. Whether she just had bad instincts or was given bad advice, that error is so egregious that she must resign. MSU athletic director Mark Hollis should leave right now as well.The. Detroit News reported that at least 14 representatives of MSU heard reports from 8 women of sexual misconduct by Nassar in the 2 decades prior to his arrest and apparently did nothing. Some of these employees were in the athletic department.Some were not.Hollis has been athletic director at MSU for 10 years, so not all of this was on his watch. But some of it was. This scandal is so awful and the pain so real that he simply cannot continue in his job. Anyone below him who knew about Nassar and covered it up obviously should be gone as well. Simply put, someone who thinks that way and says such a thing is not fit to lead any U.S.university in 2018. Marilee Dean Baker was the athletic director at Michigan State from 1990 to 1995, 2 years before Nassar started working on campus. She knows many of the players in this horrible scandal and has been watching in disgust from afar. "It's just not sufficient to say, 'I didn't know,'" she said in a phone interview Wednesday. It was President Simon's job to know.It was Mark Hollis's job to know.It's that institution's job to know. They failed these women.Period. When there's systemic failure, there must be systemic remediation. They have no defense for what they failed to do. On to USA Gymnastics. The former CEO was forced out last year and 3 top board members were shown the door this week, but that's not enough. Finally, the U.S. Olympic Committee. On a visceral level, a call to replace the USOC's leadership sounds right, even though that isn't a move that should be made at this time. While the USOC runs America's Olympic effort, there is no evidence that its leaders knew what was happening within USA Gymnastics. This is not surprising given the structure of U.S. Olympic sports mandated under law by the Ted Stevens Olympic and Amateur Sports Act, which allows national governing bodies to control and run their sport. non-ethless. In an open letter to U.S. athletes Wednesday, USOC CEO Scott Blackmun, who just announced he has prostate cancer, issued a lengthy apology on behalf of the USOC and the Olympic family, while announcing that the organization was launching an independent investigation of both USA Gymnastics and itself, with the results to be made public. That's a good step, although one wonders why this wasn't announced months ago, as the Nassar controversy grew. Blackmun also had to apologize in his letter for not sending a representative from the USOC to be in the courtroom to witness the victim's statements, just a stunning miss by the USOC. Sadly, today's USOC looks like an out-of-touch, antiquated organization unable to grasp the magnitude of this reprehensible situation until it was over. The USOC is going to get one chance to get this right, to add new faces and voices to its leadership. The heroic Ailey Raceman would be my first choice, and do it now. The credibility of the U.S. Olympic movement and the safety of its athletes are hanging in the balance.